Q&A of the 2025 season. As always, every single Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, I am your host, John Daigle, here to answer any and all questions you have about life. Not that I am contracted to answer anything else but fantasy football, but maybe I could help if you have other questions as well. It's championship week. There's already been 3 miserable games played, 2 more miserable games on the horizon for Saturday, as week 17 is really just now week 18, and week 18 is completely pointless for professional football now. Nonetheless, we have a fantasy championship to bring home, and it requires lots of moving pieces, lots of injuries, injury reports. We are practically waiting for everything to come down the pipe. So we'll do our best, but even some wild things popping up in the last hour alone. Max Crosby, for example, the Raiders are now just going to sit him for the next 2 games because, again, they understand the number 1 pick is what matters most to reset that franchise. If anything, you're never sitting Ashton Genty, but it does make me start questioning if they are willing to go that far to earn the number 1 pick to where they don't even care to field like an NFL team. Then I do wonder if they are suddenly going to also, and this also includes like shutting down Brock Bowers on IR for the rest of the season. I do wonder if now that means they're also going to limit Ashton Genty, because otherwise and there's no way to predict that, which is why I say we wouldn't sit Ashton Genty at all. But otherwise, it's basically impossible to predict. So, because again, we would not know. So, the Giants dead last in yards after contact per attempt. One of just a couple teams allowing over 2.5 yards before and after contact per run. Just a spot we want to take advantage of. But alas, we are hoping Ashton Genty is available. No questions coming in just yet. I wonder if I'm talking to myself. I hope everything was set up correctly. That would be my concern right now. I saw a few faces in the chat. I guess not faces, names in the chat before I got started. So I'm hoping it went live accordingly. It would only make sense that, of course, it would mess up on the very last week of Fantasy Championship. Nonetheless, we're still here. I myself have a few questions I'm taking down to the wire. That includes the Patriots, because already without Kayshon Boutte and Mac Hollins, Kyle Williams is a terrific start. The Patriots are obviously going to put up 40 on the Jets with ease after the last 2 weeks. Trevor Lawrence, 6 touchdowns. Tyler Shuck, over 300 yards. It really is the perfect spot for Drake May to take back MVP honors if Vrabel calls the game as such from Matthew Stafford. But Demario Douglas also questionable. So if Demario Douglas is ruled out, I mean, it's all Stephon Diggs and Kyle Williams. No one else. Hunter Henry. That's pretty wide open and clear. So kind of hoping we get to that point. Again, I see everyone slowly trickling in. It's an odd one. Week 17, championship week. 3 games have already been played where RJ Harvey eventually got there. It took a receiving touchdown. whenever you get that many touches anyways in place of J.K. Dobbins, you were never sitting R.J. Harvey anyhow. Hopefully everyone only started Travis Kelce. That's it. No other Chiefs player is ever going to get there from Chris Oladukin. And obviously the epic failure that happened for the Lions offense. Although Amon-Ra St. Brown was good. But Brian Flores is truly bringing his A game with that defense every single week now for the last 2 months, ever since Andrew Van Ginkel came back for them. It's been clear that we talk about it weekly. You don't want to play opposing quarterbacks against this Brian Flores defense right now. Amazing, even being out of it, that they're playing so hard for him. Had they had a competent quarterback, and Max Brosmer is certainly not that. Had they had a competent quarterback, they beat the Lions by 30 points. They just dunk on them because this version of the Lions is also a joke without Ben Johnson. The news that came down the pipe recently is that Jordan Love also was just ruled out. Shocking. I really thought Jordan Love was going to play. Limited concussion protocol. And I do wonder how much a part of that was the Lions losing, thus the Packers then automatically clinching a playoff berth. I see people in the chat, by the way, or not in the chat, I'm sorry. I see people are tuned in listening, but nothing in the chat. So if something's wrong, well, I guess you couldn't even tell me if the chat's wrong, right? Because I can't see. So I hope nothing's wrong with the chat and it's allowing questions to come in. Regardless, I'm going to keep talking. Jordan Love, expecting to play, but then I do wonder how much having the playoff seed and still too much that needs to happen in order for... There we go. I see questions now. I see a thumbs up. Good job, Ron. Thank you. I just wanted to double check it worked. Ron gave me a thumbs up. So I'm just going to keep talking then, regardless of if a question comes in or not. I do wonder how much of it was the Packers now understanding it's 2 games left. You could potentially catch the Bears, but it's not worth it to risk your players. That's why I also think Josh Jacobs he can fall forward for a touchdown, but most likely what's going to happen is that just like last week, Josh Jacobs is going to split 50-50 with Emmanuel Wilson. So you're starting Jacobs and hoping to get a couple touchdowns, a touchdown or 2. Plus this week in general is going to be so low scoring. Like unless you have Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, or Caleb Williams, or Drake May, you're probably not feeling good about your quarterback either. Brock Purdy also is really up there. Anyways, though, questions now coming in after some technical difficulties is what happened. But I see them now. Is it Luther Burden season? It is. It's as easy. A lot of people don't, even look into matchups, which is really odd. Like last Monday, the sentiment that Phillip Rivers is good was a terrible sentiment. I guess it's fun to see what Phillip Rivers is doing. You're obviously cheering for him as a 44-year-old legend. But obviously, Phillip Rivers only looked good because he played the Niners defense. The Niners defense that has no one at all. They've just lost everyone. First-rounder Mykel Williams, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, who's trending to come back. They just have no one on defense, no talent whatsoever. So they've become the league's worst pass and run defense at all, hence why Phillip Rivers looked good. But now translate that to an actual offense, no talent whatsoever to stop anyone already. And now you got to face Ben Johnson, a running quarterback in Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, and Luther Burden. Luther Burden, who's still 6th in yards per out run as an amazing player who just had not earned the reps as a rookie until this last month with Odunze getting injured. So, yeah, the Bears offense, all of them, are going to go nuclear. Hopefully you have 7, 8 combined Bears and 49ers, because just like the obvious spot against the Colts last week, the 49ers also, I believe, I need to double check this. I don't believe the Niners have punted since November. Someone double check that for me. I need a fact checker, but I believe that's the case. But clearly, since they came back from their bye with Brock Purdy fully healthy, their offense cannot be stopped. So It's going to be first stop wins on Sunday night between the Bears and 49ers, and they're going to win championships for everyone. Zay, I don't know. I'm assuming Zay Flowers. Emeka Ibuka or DJ Moore to start. It's going to be DJ Moore, especially with Zay Flowers from Tyler Huntley. I will take my chances with DJ Moore. Merry Christmas, Surish, and everyone. Happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. Hope everyone traveled safely. And we still got a week of this thing left. Luckily, week 18 doesn't matter, but we got to get through this week together. Surish asked, should he play Josh Jacobs or Emmanuel Wilson? A bunch of guys, yeah. In this case, you're playing Josh Jacobs. Just because, again, even if it's like last week, where it's literally him and Emmanuel Wilson split the touches, 50% share of backfield touches for both of them. Josh Jacobs handled all running back touches inside the 5-yard line. He's their pick. So 2 touchdowns is in Jacobs' range of outcomes. I don't expect him to be explosive. He hasn't been explosive at all since he's been dealing with this injury. But assuming he's active because he was removed from the injury report and not a late scratch, you would just take the 2 touchdown upside from Josh Jacobs. Because Zach Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker, we know they're in a committee that's impossible to pick which one. Even last week, Kenneth Walker, to not even handle 60% of backfield touches, all he did was explode for 2 plays. That's it. And as we've seen all year, it's much more likely Kenneth Walker does not explode for 2 big plays to get there to return the production. So it's pretty sketchy to chase either of them. And then Woody Marks, the last 2 games, Jawar Jordan rushed for over 80 yards. He rushed for 100, first of all. But 2 weeks ago, Woody Marks has never rushed for over 80 all season, so Jawar was better on the ground. Last week, Jawar Jordan had 5 catches. Woody Marks hasn't had 5 catches in a game all year. And so, logically, we're saying Woody Marks is going to lead the backfield in touches, but what does that mean? And also, this is the first time all year that the bottom could really fall out of that idea. We're inching closer to Nick Chubb just being healthy scratched altogether because he brings nothing to the team. He has I think it's 7 consecutive games of single-digit touches. He doesn't matter at all to their offense. But Jawar Jordan could, not saying it's going to happen, but it's in the range of outcomes that Jawar Jordan could out-touch Woody Marks. So that's a much dicier proposition. That's why you just play Jacobs. Is Kyle Williams worth starting, Madden? That's always the question about, relative. And right now, everyone's hurting. Kyle Williams probably, I think he's going to be a top 36 wide receiver. So is he worth starting? Just relative, just depends on who you have. Pick one for wide receiver 3, Luther Burden, Alec Pierce, or Parker Washington. Alec Pierce was strictly a product of the 49ers defense, and you're not chasing 2 touchdowns at all from Phillip Rivers, especially because my alarm's going off. Especially because, again, Phillip Rivers, against this Jaguars defense that's also come around, the Jaguars are going to win by 30 points. They're going to blow them out of the water Sunday. No doubt in my mind. So I don't really want a part of the Colts. Also, Parker Washington was a product of all year long. We've known this, right? That we talk about this with the Jets when they had Sauce Gardner and with the Broncos, that logically, even based on the stats, the Broncos are defending the 4th most targets per game to wide receiver 2s because teams don't throw at Pat Surtain. And we've seen receivers beat Pat Surtain. Quentin Johnston, go back to that Chargers game whenever they were fully healthy and had a ceiling on offense. Now they don't. Oh, I guess they do it against the Cowboys because everyone does against the Cowboys. But go back to that Chargers-Broncos game, and Quentin Johnston was dicing up Pat Surtain in man coverage, manhandling him. But logically, team quarterbacks don't throw at Pat Surtain. That's why Parker Washington had a career high in receiving yards, because the idea was to go away from Pat Surtain. So I do think Parker Washington, while he's good, he's a very good player, there's a lot of mouths to feed. Brenton Strange, Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr. And so I think Parker Washington's a pretty flimsy play, honestly. Kind of like how we talked about with Jalen Coker and Tedero McMillan last week, where in 2 games around their bye, Coker had a team high 20.5% target share, but we're just using our brain. And last week we even said together, remember, logically, who's going to earn more targets? The first round player, the top 10 pick, who profiles as Mike Evans, or undrafted free agent Jalen Coker. It's very cool what Jalen Coker's doing, but let's get real. That's kind of how I feel about Parker Washington. It's like, let's get real. They went away from Pat Surtain, Brian Thomas Jr., and Jacoby Myers, who they just gave $60 million to, is still on the team. We're not going to trust Parker Washington. You just start Luther Burden. Would you play Purdy or T-Law? I mean, why even ask that question? We're not going to get it right. That's too close. Way too close. I think I go Lawrence. Sauce Gardner's coming back, but he's actually been bad this year, so I don't even care. Lawrence is playing so good right now. Is it in Indy? Is it? No, because last week was Rivers' last game. No, it is. Oh, so it's indoor environment. That's what I'm trying to check. Yeah, it's in Indianapolis. Okay, yeah, I'll go Trevor Lawrence indoors over Brock Purdy. But either way, you're stuck sitting a good quarterback and you're stuck starting a top 5 quarterback. Hi, John. Am I right to play Stafford over Lawrence? I don't think so. I would play Lawrence over Stafford. Just because there are situations Sunday where the Rams aren't playing for much in the NFC in general. And also, the Falcons aren't going to threaten the Rams. Like, we knew the Seahawks would. That's an important game in all aspects of playoffs. A divisional opponent that you need to beat because you're probably going to see again. But the Falcons can't compete with the Rams. So you're not really... Like, we're not taking the Falcons seriously. Maybe Sean McVay would want to get Stafford MVP because that's a team and coach that do play for incentives. But we're already having to paint a narrative when Trevor Lawrence offers such a high floor. So I'll take the rushing points when we're nitpicking here. It's such a great matchup for Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to start Trevor Lawrence over Matthew Stafford personally. And then, Bucky Irving has to score outside the 20, obviously. Since he's come back, Sean Tucker has handled 7 of 8 goal line carries over Bucky Irving. But Irving's still, getting 20 touches. You just take it. Whereas Michael Carter, we just don't know. This is what we talked about whenever we talked about starting Michael Carter last week, is that the rug can always get pulled out from guys the team never wanted to start anyways, and they just have to now because he's their 4th running back and only running back left. That's why last week Carter went down to 50% of backfield touches ahead of Corey Kiner, who they got involved out of nowhere, and Amari DiMercado, because again, Michael Carter's not a guy the Cardinals want to play. They're just forced to play him. It's obviously the best matchup possible against the Bengals, but we can't trust the workload. So I think it's a fine matchup for Carter. And if I have him, I'm starting him as an RB3, but Bucky Irving's the better play over Carter. And then I would start Jake Tonjes over Taysom Hill. One, if you just pick up Tonjes, you don't have to make the choice between Taysom Hill and Kittle. You can take Kittle down to Sunday night because obviously if Kittle plays, you're starting him. And so first of all, I don't want to force Taysom Hill in my lineup over George Kittle just in case George Kittle's cleared Sunday night. I'm gonna take that stress off my plate, make it really easy for myself, not even ask a start-sit question, pick up Jake Tonjes and call it a day. Easy. No questions asked. But also we're doing that because Taysom Hill's projection is really shaky. A guy that the team didn't use at all under Kellen Moore. Completely different role, just a couple wildcat carries here and there. And then last week in his last home game, knowing that the team's going to void his contract to move on to the offseason, they give him every touch known to man. This one, obviously, no more games in the Superdome for Taysom Hill. So it's an extremely shaky projection to just take Hill's lone outlier game all year long and say, now that's what the team's going to do. Maybe that's what they do, but I don't think we can trust it at all. And also, I would hate myself if I ended up starting that shaky of usage and then you dud. And then Kittle's active also when you want to play Kittle. So, again, I'm not going to even ask start-sit questions for myself. I'm not going to even mentally do it to myself. I'm just going to pick up Jake Tonjes, and there's no start-sit there. Because we know whenever Kittle was out earlier, Jake Tonjes had a 70% route rate. His last 3 starts for Kittle, he was a top 12 tight end in 2 of them. He was a tight end 14 overall in the 3rd one. Just going to make it easy on myself in a game I think shoots out. What are your thoughts on starting Hurts? I mean, you can, but it's a terrible matchup. And we've seen, like, when the Eagles run into good defenses, their offense becomes complete crap again because Kevin Patullo is one of the worst play callers in the entire NFL. So I'm expecting to be a lower scoring game. It's not going to be fun at all to watch Eagles-Bills with no motivation for either side. So you can start Hurts for sure, but it's shaky. He's probably closer to like the 2nd or 3rd tier quarterbacks, and you would definitely start Drake May, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, and Brock Purdy over him this week for sure. Drake London or Tet McMillan? It's Drake London for me. We're just gonna, assuming he plays. Is he even playing? I don't think he's playing, right? Wouldn't they just shut him down? Oh no, he's gonna play. Limited. And then Kyle Pitts was downgraded to limited too. Oh man, this time of the year is such an absolute mess. What a waste of everyone's time. Yeah. Against Seattle, though. Although Seattle does have some secondary injuries that they're dealing with. Sure. Let's see here. I'm looking at Seahawks injuries. Yeah, I guess you go Tet. That's safer, I think. Given that they even admitted that Drake London was limited last week. It's nitpicking, but I guess I go Tet. I don't like either of them. I wish I had any amount of confidence in London's work. Because London would be the better play. Probably is the better play. But I think I'd go Tet. Would you play Burden over Bucky or Warren? No. I just played Bucky. Yeah, I played Bucky. Start 2. T. Higgins, Jawan Jennings, Mike Evans. You are unfortunately sitting Jawan Jennings. You're starting T. Higgins and Mike Evans for sure. Just because you're nitpicking between 2 tight ends, again, that we can't guess. You're starting Colston Loveland over Jawan Johnson. Let's see. Need 2. Jacobs, Etienne, Henderson, and Corum. Etienne, you just take the touches. And I'll say Henderson, given that if he's cleared, if not Blake Corum over Josh Jacobs, pretty confident the Rams, unlike last week, are going to use Corum a lot more, even though the last month they've been using Corum a lot more. But I bet Corum's touch projection, at least, is very similar to TreVeyon Henderson. I would just prefer the ceiling for Henderson if he's cleared, since the Patriots are going to be up 40 points by halftime for Jets that just thrown in the towel. Not even trying anymore. Lax flex spot. Trey Tucker, Emmanuel Wilson, Dylan Sampson. You're not playing Michael Pittman and Phillip Rivers. That's Dylan Sampson easily. We have one game sample where Quinshon Judkins was out in week 1. Dylan Sampson was the RB1. 67% of backfield touches, 19% target share. Also, if the Packers beat the Ravens tomorrow, and the Ravens, of course, Tyler Huntley. If the Packers beat the Ravens, though, then all that matters for the Steelers, no. Then the Ravens are eliminated. Yeah, I believe the Ravens are eliminated. Thus, the Steelers are playing for pretty much nothing. And so I bet we don't get a full game of Steelers starters. So what I'm saying is the Browns are live. The Browns are live to win if the Steelers just bench everybody because the Packers beat the Ravens on Saturday. So Dylan Sampson is the pick. Strange or Taysom, again, just given the projection I have for Taysom, I'm going Britton Strange easily. Why even risk it when Britton Strange at least gets targets? Who cares? Start 3. Tetaroa, Monangai, Michael Carter, Blake Corum. I would bench Tetaroa. I would just play the running backs. The running backs are all in such good spots. Yeah, I just play the 3 running backs. I just get those touches. Monangai is at least splitting with DeAndre Swift. And again, in the easiest matchup possible against the Niners. Steelers or Saints D. Just start the Saints. Well, no need to think about it. Josh Allen or Trevor Lawrence. If you're down 27, yeah, I mean, you could start Trevor Lawrence. I think I'd start Trevor Lawrence. Either way, you're going to feel stupid, right? Like if you bench Josh Allen, he scores 5 touchdowns, which is always in his range of outcomes. You're going to feel stupid. If you start Josh Allen and that game ends up 13-10, which it could, you're going to feel stupid. So I think I'd start Trevor Lawrence. But, when you're always talking about sitting Josh Allen, you probably know the answer is just start Josh Allen and live with your consequences. Michael Carter, Burden, Godwin, Waddle. I would start Taysom over Michael. No, I would start Michael Mayer over Taysom, since we've seen Michael Mayer be like literally a top 5 tight end without Brock Bowers this year. Let's see, but I would still start Burden over Michael Carter. One flex though, so it'd be Godwin over Burden. I think it's Godwin over Burden. Godwin. Yeah, I think it'd be. Is it Godwin over Waddle? I guess not. Man, the Miami offensive line situation is such a mess. I'm going to say Waddle, but it's called close. If Henderson's out, would I start Ramondre over Derrick Henry? I don't think I would. I don't blame anyone, but I don't think I would. Just because the ball has no choice but to go through Derrick Henry for the Ravens to win. And remember, the Ravens have to win out. They're playing for their lives. So the ball will go to the best players. 30 touches are in Henry's range of outcomes for sure. Brissett or Lawrence, not close. It's Lawrence. Don't know to get cute with Brissett when you have Trevor Lawrence. Or Drake London and Jonathan Taylor are still, yeah, you can't really bench Drake London and Jonathan Taylor. The question earlier was about, someone close to Drake London, but you're definitely not sitting Jonathan Taylor. You just can't. You can't. Michael Wilson or Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers for me, it does help a little bit that Marvin Harrison Jr. is on the injury report. He's limited all week, so he's going to play. But maybe we see some more Michael Wilson. But again, we talked about this last week, how you just can't copy-paste Michael Wilson's numbers over from when MHJ is out compared to when Harrison Jr. plays, because just like last week, he's targeted on a lower rate of his routes. That's how it works for them until they finally just go away with Marvin Harrison Jr.'s usage altogether. So Michael Wilson's just flimsier than Jacoby Myers. Also, Sauce Gardner coming back doesn't make a difference because he's not really good. You're not scared of Sauce Gardner. At least this year, he's been not good. Joe Burrow over Trevor Lawrence. Yes, the fact you even have that decision is disgusting. You shouldn't have that many good quarterbacks, but Joe Burrow easily over Trevor Lawrence. Either way, you're sitting a good quarterback. So again, don't think about it. Who cares? You're starting a good quarterback. You're sitting a good quarterback. Loveland or Hunter Henry if Kittle's out. You won't know that decision because the Patriots play Sunday afternoon. The Niners and Bears play Sunday night. So that's kind of you're not going to know about Kittle probably till game time, most likely. So what I'd do is I would just ignore Hunter Henry altogether. No need to even talk about him. I'd take Loveland down to the wire. I'd start Kittle if he plays. Otherwise, you start Loveland and make it simple on yourself. No need to throw other bodies in there if you don't have to. No need to cause yourself stress where there's stress already. Don't even think about it. Loveland, if Kittle can't go, I would play Loveland over Tonjes. Yeah, I'd play Loveland over Tonjes. AD, Kyle Williams or Wicks. Kyle Williams for sure. Given just the usage and matchups between those guys, the usage opened up for Kyle Williams now, especially if Demario Douglas would be surprising. But they don't use Demario Douglas anyways. They've been much more inclined to give Kyle Williams more routes instead of Demario Douglas. I don't know what I mean. Phantasm. This is a wild question. There's a lot going on in this question, but I would start Strange over Tonjes. I mean, I'd start Kittle over Strange and Strange over Tonjes. But since you have Tonjes, I would not worry about Strange, and I'd just take Kittle down the wire and then start Tonjes to not give myself stress. There you go. I need upside. Pick 2. Taysom, Wandell, Corum. It's Taysom and Corum over Wandell for upside. Because I don't know what kind of upside even like this Giants offense has with Mike Kafka. They've kind of thrown in the towel. Should I start Warner or Loveland? I'm going Loveland over Warren. Don't want to play guys with Phillip Rivers. Pick 2. I will go Burden and Carter over Kyle Williams and Devonta Smith. Devonta has the higher floor. Noah Dunze. Yeah, I think I'd sit Devonta Smith. But I admittedly, I can't get Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith to save my life, right? So, but I would personally go Burden over Devonta Smith in having zero faith at all in the Eagles and Bills game and their offenses. Lots of running the ball. Flex Corum, Parker, or Brian Thomas Jr. It'd be Brian Thomas for me. Who to flex? Kyle Williams, Reed with Malik over that group, just a group of guys. Corum over Dylan Sampson. Pat's Patriots D for sure. Easy one. Flex. Stevenson, Moore. I'm assuming that's Tedero McMillan and not Jalen McMillan or Corum. And it would be, for me, it'd be Stevenson if Henderson is out. DJ Moore if Henderson is in. Jasicki or Theo Johnson. Jasicki really comes down to Noah Fant, and Noah Fant's been limited all week. So take it to Sunday, and I would say Jasicki if Noah Fant's ruled out. Otherwise, Theo Johnson if Noah Fant is in, playing alongside Jasicki. Fannin said he's going to play, so don't worry about Fannin. Dylan Sampson or Jonathan Taylor? Oh, come on now. We're not going to answer that, Carson. We're not even answering that question. Yeah, Phantasm. I just wouldn't overthink it. Like the Steelers, even if the Packers win and beat the Ravens, thus giving the Steelers nothing to play for, we will know early if they're going to start or limit their starters. So I would just wait for the report from Glazer Sunday morning and then make your decision from there. Because if he tells you, if we get a report that, oh, the Steelers, will limit the reps of their starters, then you can start Luther Burden instead. But just wait until we get that report and see what happens, because the Ravens can also beat Malik Willis easily, actually. No idea who's going to win that game. Start Gainwell or Waddle. It would be Waddle for me. Gainwell has to do all of his damage through the air. Yeah, I think it'd still be Waddle for me. Strange over Mayer. We're not going to start putting Mayer into, easy tight ends. We don't need to complicate this for ourselves. Achane, Chase Brown, or ETN. Why? Achane is my RB8. Chase Brown's my RB9. Travis Etienne's my RB10. So Achane. Loveland or Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry is my tight end 6. Loveland is my tight end 7. So again, you're nitpicking. Hunter Henry's safer for sure. Loveland has the higher ceiling, so depending on what you need, but Hunter Henry is safer. Merry Christmas, KDX. Easy answers. You can't start Estime after the Taysom Hill usage just in case it happens again. So like I dropped Estime in a 14-team league. You're never going to play him. Dylan Sampson easily over him. Loveland easily over Goddard and Taysom Hill. Especially given that Bills, all they do is shut down tight ends all year long. And then let's see here. And then if Henderson's active, yes. Well, you're not going to know that because Hampton plays tomorrow, Saturday. Oh. Yeah, I guess, I'd probably start Hampton since it's a championship week. In the regular season, you could probably find a fill-in, but I don't think I'd want to risk it in such an important game. So I would just play Hampton. I don't think I'd risk it. Just in case Henderson is like downgraded or ruled out from in the concussion protocol because he's not cleared yet. He's still questionable. He was just practicing through it. Would I play Sampson over Waddle and PPR? No. They're not close. They're not even in the same tier. Evans, easily. That's where the question stops. Evans, yes. Yes, Mike Evans. Always Mike Evans. Jalen Warner, Waddle, and Tyler Warren or Hill. It'd be Waddle and Tyler Warren or Taysom. I think it'd be Waddle and Tyler Warren. No, honestly, I would start Taysom over Tyler Warren. I just think even if I don't believe in the usage for Taysom, I would take a chance on that, understanding that I'm not going to get anything out of Tyler Warren with Philip Rivers anyways. Loveland or Schultz? Schultz plays tomorrow, Saturday. Schultz definitely offers like the safer floor, but I would personally play Colston Loveland instead, personally. That answer probably differs based on who you ask, Brownstone, but I'm going to take the ceiling and chase it and go Loveland. Caleb Williams easily over Jacoby Brissett. The Cardinals will also be without their 2 starting offensive linemen on the left side, Paris Johnson and Evan Brown. Jacoby Brissett has been miserable. He's thrown 89% of his touchdowns from a clean pocket, but he's been miserable under pressure. Not to say the Bengals can get pressure, but there's a real chance the Cardinals' offense just bottoms out, and that's because they're bad. They're a bad team. So you just take Caleb Williams easily. Tracy or Sampson, and I think the answer is going to be Tracy. Yeah, it's Tracy over Sampson. Dowdle or Monungai. I'm not going to play Dowdle against Seattle where I don't have to. So I'm just going to say Monungai in the same timeshare like Dowdle and Chuba. I would go DJ Moore. Since we're nitpicking between DJ Moore and Brian Thomas, I would take the matchup, and the matchup is better for DJ Moore. Let's see. Michael Wilson or Wandell. Gosh. You're so close. I think I am taking Michael Wilson over Wandale, understanding Wilson's ceiling is higher. And perhaps that doesn't come to fruition, but at least since we're nitpicking, I can risk that. I don't mind it. Full PPR, every tight end mention, just all of them. And so I think I'd go Colby Parkinson among that group. Obviously, last week, Terrence Ferguson, that was part of the scheme to trick the Seahawks, but you don't need to trick the Falcons. The Rams are just going to show up and dunk on them. It's not going to be as complicated as it was against Seattle. So I'm trusting Colby Parkinson again. London versus Nico would be Nico for me. Blake Corum, Taysom Hill. I'll just pick one of these bums. Okay. I would start Blake Corum and Emmanuel Wilson over Estime. Marks is still better than Estime for sure, Supa. Not even close. You just can't trust Estime at all. Like literally unusable. Hunter Henry or holdout for Tonjes without Kittle. So it differed if you're the person who has Kittle. But if you have Tonjes and you don't have Kittle, one, don't even pick up Tonjes because then you would have to take that decision down to Sunday night. And again, we're probably not going to know about Kittle until Sunday night before kickoff. So I wouldn't overthink it. Just play Hunter Henry if you don't have Kittle. Otherwise, if you have Kittle, pick up Tonjes and don't worry about Hunter Henry. Henderson, yeah. If we can't use Estime because we don't know which way it goes. And you don't want to be in the championship game guessing which way it goes, right? Because it could be bad for both. So, like, if we don't know if Taysom keeps the same usage, thus we don't know if Estime keeps the same usage, then why even try to guess it when you have much better plays? You don't need to. It's the championship week. We don't need to be playing guys like Audric Estime. I'm in a 14-team league and I dropped Audric Estime. So I know for a fact y'all don't need to be playing Audric Estime. I play in as deep a leagues as other sickos, and Audric Estime is a useless play. Hampton, and not saying he won't do well, by the way, but when we talk about these answers, we talk about them in range of outcomes. And like you never want to put yourself in a position for a 0 in the championship week. Why even do that to yourself? So given how wide it is and how Estime still projects for 0, I wouldn't even risk it. Like you can't risk it. Hampton or Michael Wilson. I think I'd take the touches with Hampton for sure, especially because Kamani Vidal could be ruled out. He got an limited practice this last game, but if Kamani Vidal doesn't play with his neck injury against the Texans, Hampton, it's literally going to be all Hampton. Like they're not even going to give the ball to anyone else. Kyle Williams over those guys. That's the most 14-team thing I've ever seen. Kyle Williams, Jack Besh, or Kamada Mumfield. That's disgusting, Super Dave, and I'm proud of you. But it's absolutely Kyle Williams. No, don't play Thielen. Now you're getting into 18-team leagues. You're not playing Adam Thielen, especially because like it's a really tough matchup for the Steelers too against Cleveland. Myles Garrett is going for the sack record, and it's possible that Aaron Rodgers doesn't play. So we're talking about Mason Rudolph, Myles Garrett's mortal enemy. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. But what I did was, and do not follow me. This is not a betting advice show at all. There are other shows on Yahoo for that. But I parlayed the Packers and the Browns just because logically, if the Packers win, then you set yourself up. Not saying it's going to happen, right? It's not guaranteed, but it's just trying to get an edge. You obviously set yourself up to have the best number by betting the Browns to win in that parlay because the Packers won. Thus, the Steelers are probably benching players. So I think I personally parlayed the Packers and the Browns, just hoping to get the better number. But that, of course, doesn't matter when the big dog goes for 200 yards. So we'll see what happens with Tyler Huntley and the big dog playing for their lives. Allen or Stafford, it's nitpicking. Josh Allen's my QB6. Matthew Stafford's my QB7. I think I'd go Josh Allen. At least you get the rushing outs. Schultz, Strange, or Tonjes. Again, if you have Kittle, pick up Tonjes. Don't even ask the question. If you don't have Kittle, don't pick up Tonjes, because why would you ever take your decision down to Sunday night, since we don't know if Kittle's going to play until Sunday night? So don't even worry about it. I would just play. So basically the question is Schultz or Strange. And if that's the case, then I'm going Strange over Schultz. I think the matchup's better. Sit one between Burden, DJ Moore, and Brian Thomas. I may play both Bears wide receivers. It's not advised. You're definitely starting Moore. Gosh, I want to play Burden against the Niners. I want to play everyone against the Niners every week. Brian Thomas is a safer play over Burden. But like, if you find yourself in a hole and you need a ceiling over the next 2 games, since 5 games will have been played by Sunday morning, then I'd play Burden over Brian Thomas. So Brian Thomas is definitely safer. It's not dumb playing Jacoby and Strange. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, has 5 touchdowns in his range of outcomes, as he's shown us. So no, it's not dumb at all to play those guys together and play Jaguars. Jaguars are live to show up in the AFC for Super Bowl representative. AFC's wide open. The Bills actually have the worst 53-man roster in the entire AFC playoffs. They have no talent on defense. None. That's why they can't stop anyone. They're not athletic. They're not young. They're horrible on defense. And it's going to get them knocked out. Same for the Niners. Niners offense can match anyone. The Rams, point for point. The Niners have no talent on defense whatsoever. And it's going to get them knocked out of the playoffs really early, just like the Bills. Alabi's going to play. We're not going to worry about that. Let's see. Flex help. Henderson, Hall, or Carter? It'd still be TreVeyon Henderson for me. And then if TreVeyon Henderson's out, I think I'd play Michael Carter over Breece Hall. It's probably not advisable. Like, Hall probably is the higher floor, but I do think the game script gets out of hand so quickly that it's going to be a lot more Isaiah Davis and other players at running back for the Jets. I would go Ladd McConkey over Parker Washington. It's not a good matchup, but again, like, there's a reason why no one was really playing Parker Washington, and suddenly now they want to play him after the Broncos game. So yeah, I'm not going to start jamming in Parker Washington until like top 24, top 36 range where Ladd McConkey is. Loveland or Tonjes at game? Yeah, I already answered that, Michael. It's if you're taking Loveland and Tonjes down, I'd play Loveland. Otherwise, you're playing Kittle. Would it be foolish to play Shuck over Hurts? I don't think foolish. I don't think I'd do it. Well, I might do it. I might do it. I'm now going through in my head the hamster wheel of how much would I hate myself in the morning if I woke up and I started Shuck over Hurts. And then Hurts has like 3 touchdowns, obviously, because it's Jalen Hurts, and that's in his range of outcomes. I think I'd start Shuck over Hurts. As wrong as that my answer might be, I think I would start Shuck over Hurts in this game. Yeah, I'd go Burrow over Trevor Lawrence, but like, that's an impossible question. It's like, whatever, just start one. I would also go Little over Dicker and Patriots over Steelers easily. Taysom Hill over Darren Waller for me. Darren Waller was even splitting routes last week when the Dolphins starters were on the field. So it's still Taysom Hill for me. I don't trust Darren Waller at all. Patriots or Saints defense? Impossible answer. You're never going to get it right. So I'd start the Patriots defense. But Saints have been really good. But you put yourself in that position by picking up both. So I just wouldn't have even picked up the second one. I just would have started the Patriots. That's it. That's easier. Like easily Bailey Sue, Purdy over Shuck, no questions asked. That one's really easy. But Shuck and Hurts are in the same tier. So it's like whatever. Just, who has the better matchup? Shuck has the much better matchup. So the Titans defense has fallen apart entirely. And Shuck has similar rushing upside. I don't know how that happened either, because he was terrible in college. He was a pocket statue. And now he averages 6 carries per game. It's wild. Monangai or Michael Carter? I'm going to look at my rankings. I have Carter slightly ahead of Monangai. I don't even know if I like that ranking, and I did it. So I'll say Michael Carter, but they're really close. I don't know how to answer that question, Tyler. Like Strange over Tonjes if Kittle doesn't play. Again, you're not going to know that until Sunday night. So I don't know. If you have Kittle again, pick up Tonjes. Don't even worry about Strange. Don't worry about Taysom Hill. Stop making it harder on yourself. Pick up Tonjes if you have Kittle, and then just take that down. That's it. No questions asked outside of that. Otherwise, like Strange over Tonjes if Kittle doesn't play doesn't make sense because it's the Sunday night game. We probably won't know about Kittle until in between games. They're going to take it down to the wire, warm him up. So I can't answer that question. I have no idea how to answer that. I would just pick up Tonjes if I have Kittle. That's my answer. That's simple. I'm playing against Herbert tomorrow. Should I be scared? No, not at all. Like, you're not scared of Herbert and the Chargers offense whatsoever. They did well because they played the Cowboys, obviously. But now they play the Texans that are the opposite and that they're literally number one and with the fewest passing points allowed in fantasy to opposing quarterbacks. That game's going to be like 13-6. It's going to be such a boring slog. You're not scared of any of the Chargers. You're not scared of any of the Texans because the Chargers defense has also been really good. Strange over Taysom Hill. Josh Allen or Brock Purdy? Yeah, I have Brock Purdy ranked slightly higher. I would definitely go Hurts over Herbert easily. I have Brock Purdy ranked higher, so I'm going to go Brock Purdy. I know it's close. It's super close. It feels dumb to sit Josh Allen, but I'm going to start Purdy. I also feels dumb to sit Brock Purdy too. Brissett over Dart, 6-point passing TDs. Yeah. Because again, Mike Kafka's really put the reins on this thing. Luther Burden or Christian Watson? It'd be Luther Burden for me from Malik Willis. I'm not trusting the passing offense. Like the bottom falls out now. You really don't want to worry about anyone. You'd much rather just play the running game because they're probably going to run the ball a lot to take the ball out of Malik Willis's hands. Not worried about Olave. He's going to play. Luther Burden or Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith is the much higher floor. And Luther Burden doesn't play till Sunday night, so you probably won't know what you need by then, Tyler. But like in terms of ceiling, I think Luther Burden's ceiling is higher. So I'd just wait until Sunday morning and see what you need based on the 5 games that have happened and who your opponents had in those 5 games. I would start Travis Etienne over Kyron Williams for sure, just because of the committee. Like, there's no committee for Etienne, so that one's easy. Full PPR, start 1. Running back 1 flex. Yeah. It would be, I think, Tyrone Tracy and Brian Thomas. Yeah, I think it'd be Tyrone Tracy and Brian Thomas for me. Well, no, it'd be Swift and Tracy. Yeah, I'm going to go Swift and Tracy. Kyle Williams over Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman. I'm not playing anyone with Phillip Rivers. Especially when he doesn't play the Niners. I'm not playing anyone with him. Just not going to do it. We're going to keep it easy on ourselves. We don't play receivers with Phillip Rivers because they can't get there. Alec Pierce, it took 2 jump balls against the league's worst defense to get there. Not going to chase that ever results. With that being said, that is it for the 2025 season for me. Appreciate everyone joining in every single week. Who knows what could happen in the offseason? Maybe we do this again. Maybe we do more. I don't know. But regardless, I will be active, continuing through the playoffs and the best ball season at establishthерun.com and at NotJDaigle on Twitter. So thank you to everyone for joining me every single week. I truly appreciate it. Good luck this week. And remember, as always, even when you have multiple belts over your shoulder for winning the fantasy championships, be a little bit kinder to what's required. I'll see you in the future.